We're going to look at two different formulas that tonify qi and blood, nourish the heart, calm the Shen, and focus on the spleen and heart. I know you know this first formula, Gui Pi Tang. There's been some version of Gui Pi Tang around since the Song dynasty, but the formula that we use didn't actually get standardized until around 1500 in the Ming dynasty. This next formula might be new to some of you, even though it has been around since the mid 1100s, and it's a very good formula for tonifying deficient patients. It is Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang, also known as Ren Shen Yang Ying Tang. So let's head over to graph mode and take a look at these. First, I'm going to expand them. Things are going to look really crazy. That's okay. We're getting everything out so then we can come and put our filters on and clarify things. Let's start by looking at the patterns. Okay, Gui Pi Tang treats a pattern of spleen, qi, and heart blood deficiency. This is typically due to overthinking and excessive worrying. Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang treats heart and spleen, qi, and blood deficiency with internal heat and dryness. This is usually due to accumulated damage from overexertion. Historically, it was used to treat chronic consumption. So you can see they both have this qi and blood deficiency that's affecting the spleen and the heart, but there is a potential additional heat and dryness component in Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang. So let's take a look at how their indications are the same and different. Okay, so here we have all the things that are the same. Not surprising that there's a lot in common. Loss of appetite, reduced appetite, fatigue, forgetfulness, palpitations, a wan or even a pale complexion, possible feverishness, forceless pulse, pale tongue. But how are they different? So Gui Pi Tang, it really has a primary focus on the spleen. The heart is secondary. So what we see, we've got early menses, bleeding, prolonged menses. So there are a number of things that are showing the spleen qi deficiency in this formula. And Gui Pi Tang also has a strong psycho-emotional component to it, which you can see with indications such as phobia, anxiety, dream-disturbed sleep, insomnia. Now, Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang, it does have some restlessness, and that could occur at night. It also has non-healing sores. But then you get a larger component. Let me switch those. There we go. Shortness of breath, dry mouth, cough, dry skin, dry throat. So you have a lung component here with dryness that you don't see in Gui Pi Tang, and there could be some heat. Let's see the herbs they both use to treat their patterns. Now, the interesting thing is that they use the same basic architecture, and they do have many herbs in common. To tonify qi, and really they're both tonifying spleen qi is one of the big components, they both use Sijianzi Tang. You can see we have Ren Shen, Baizhu, Fuling. Gui Pi Tang will often use Fu Shen as an additional calm Shen component, and Gan Sao. They both use Zhi Gan Sao, and they both add Huang Qi. So they take the same exact approach. Next, they tonify the blood. They both include Dong Gui, but then they differ. Gui Pi Tang uses Long Yan Ro. So it's targeting heart and spleen and calming Shen. Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang actually contains 3/4 of Siwu Tang. In addition to Dong Gui, it uses Shu Di Huang and Xiao Yao, typically Bai Xiao. So that provides it an additional yin, nourishing, enriching component, which is needed for the dryness that can be a part of its pattern. Again, for the Nourish Heart Calm Shen component of these formulas, they have an herb in common. They are both using yuan zhi. Then they add an additional herb, which will help tonify yin, calm Shen, and stop sweating. Gui Pi Tang uses Swan Zhao Ren. So it's tonifying heart yin, but it's also really targeting the liver more to support the heart. Whereas Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang uses Wu Wei Tsa. And this can also help restrain heart qi, calm the Shen, but it has a generating fluid component, and it also targets the lung. They both have a qi regulator to help avoid stagnation due to the tonifying herbs, but they take a different approach here. Gui Pi Tang uses Mu Shang. Makes a lot of sense. They're really focusing on strengthening the spleen and eliminating any possible food stagnation that might be present due to having a weak functioning spleen. Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang instead chooses Chen Pi. And that can also help with phlegm if there's phlegm with the cough, but it also enters the lung in addition to the spleen. Historically, what isn't on this graph is that both of these would add shengjiang and datsao when making a decoction, just to help harmonize the formula and help assimilate it to your body. There is one extra herb that Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang has that is not accounted for in the Gui Pi Tang formula, and that is rogui. So here we have rogui. It's helping to tonify yang and warm yang qi to stimulate the physiological activity in the body. So, quick recap. Both of these herbal formulas target the spleen and the heart. They tonify qi and blood, and they help calm the Shen. Gui Pi Tang would be used more when you have taxation due to a mental reason, and it also has a stronger spleen tonifying component. Ren Shen Yang Rong Tang is more for physical taxation that has occurred, and it may have more of a dryness and heat component, with the lung being part of the mix.